Hi, this is George LeMieux, Chairman of the Board of the Gunster Law Firm, and you're here on Gunster's View from the Top. This week, we're with my friend Sam Zietz. Sam is a superstar entrepreneur here in Florida, based in Boca Raton. He's got two businesses, TouchSuite, which is in the payment processing space, and a really exciting new business, Grubber, which is in the automated kiosk space. And we welcome Sam to Gunster's View from the Top. Sam?
George, thank you for having me on your show today.
My pleasure. So Sam, I want to talk to you. You've had a tremendous amount of success in Florida. You were Ernst & Young's recognized as being one of their leaders of the year back in 2015 when you got the Entrepreneur of the Year award. Your companies have received a lot of success and you've built them from the ground up right here in Florida. I'd like you to talk to us a little bit about your companies, and then I want to talk to you about how you've built the talent at your companies to succeed. So tell us a little bit about TouchSuite and Grubber.
Absolutely. So TouchSuite, which is nearly 20 years old at this point, is a fintech company focused on the payment processing space. So we enable businesses the ability to accept credit cards and the technology to facilitate it. So we like to say we're empowering entrepreneurs every day. On the Grubber side, that's a really interesting fintech company where we're automating commerce, and we're really a leader in the self-ordering technology. You mentioned earlier kiosks, but it's also mobile ordering, online ordering, back of the office with the kitchen display systems, and even the delivery with food lockers. So we integrate that entire ecosystem together, but you're absolutely right. None of that works without talent. And the one thing that really separates us in our DNA is being able to recruit and retain and develop the top talent in the country. And fortunately for us, Florida is a very exciting location to recruit people to. So we do a lot of time, aggressively recruiting at the top universities in this country, and then convincing these young superstars that there's no better place to bring their talent than to South Florida.
Well, Sam, I know you've had success doing that. I've toured your new facilities in Boca Raton and, see lots of folks from the Ivy Leagues, young people. And, that's always been a challenge for Florida is, people figure out usually later in life that this is the best place to work and raise a family. But oftentimes, the allure of New York or Boston or Austin or California, keeps and retains superstar talent. What are you saying to these young people in their 20s who are at these elite institutions, many of them outside of Florida? What are you saying to them to get them to come to Florida?
Well, first, I mean, given the current climate, in the current administration of some of the other jurisdictions, they've made it a little bit easier for us. So I do thank them for that. But, Florida historically hasn't had a lot of opportunities. So when you go to a California and you take a job, if it doesn't work out, you just go across the street to the employer there and problem solved. Historically, there has not been a lot of, tech, specifically fintech, in the South Florida community. That's starting to change. So they're doing a good job of creating that entrepreneurial ecosystem specifically for technology down here in Florida. So what are we selling? We're selling the fact that this is a great place to not only work and actually be driven in doing things that are really what we're billing as the fourth industrial revolution, what's changing that world. But then on your free time, being in Boca, you're 20 minutes from Palm Beach, you're 25 minutes from Fort Lauderdale, you're 45 minutes from Miami, you're 2.5 hours from Orlando, 3 hours from Tampa, 4 hours from Jacksonville, hour and a half from Naples. There's 3 airports, so you're one stop from anywhere in the world. And you got, in a non-COVID world, you got 2 ports, and you can hop on a cruise ship anywhere you want to go. And our weather is beautiful year round, and you keep more of your paycheck in your pocket because we don't have crazy taxes like a lot of those jurisdictions you just mentioned.
Well, that's fantastic that that's resonating with folks because we've always been about trying to get talent here. And what excites me about what you're doing, and especially what's happening in Southeast Florida with all these financial services firms moving here, we are creating that ecosystem. We recently had Kelly Smallridge on, who's the head of the Business Development Board in Palm Beach County, and she talked about more than 80 financial services firms that have moved to Palm Beach. So do you think that we can replicate, what's happened in Silicon Valley, what's happened in Austin, what's happened in the healthcare tech space in Nashville? Do you think we can grow enough of an ecosystem that, someone who joins you this year, 5 years from now, goes off and starts a new company? Can we create that kind of energy?
Absolutely. I mean, look, years ago, Boca Raton, this was IBM. So, and what's kind of spurred into all that real estate that IBM once occupied are a lot of entrepreneurial companies. And it's just letting the rest of the world know that this is growing. And the environment, look, the cost of living is far more affordable here in South Florida. The quality of life is far better. It's resonating with the younger the younger sect who are just now starting their careers, and they're saying while there was historically this big allure to being in the big cities like the New York and San Francisco, all of a sudden they're realizing there's a quality of life issue, and the quality of life down here is better. And if they can now have the opportunity and be doing cutting edge type work, that's resonating, and that's what they're looking for. They're looking to be challenged. They're looking for purpose, and they're looking to make a difference. And if an organization can provide those, and they can do it in an environment that leads to a high quality of life, that's why we did the major renovation that we did at the space here. People come here. They come in early to the office because they just want to hang out. They stay late just because it's fun. And they're constantly bringing their relatives by just to show them the space. So they're really, quite proud of what we have here. And I think it's the beginning, not just our company, but lots of tech companies entering this space.
Well, you've recreated such a welcoming space, and we hear about these spaces out in California where, there are things that attract young people and make them want to stay at work. Can you talk a little bit about the physical space that you've built in Boca?
Yeah, it is. It's not your typical functional space. We've got a glassed indoor basketball court which can double as a town hall. But our employees will get in here and they've come up with a million new games that they're constantly playing. Whether it's 3-point shooting contests or a game of horse or whatever they're doing, but they're constantly doing that. We created this indoor park, which is another just space. And we have a multitude of different unique spaces throughout the building where the employees can go and collaborate. They can go and just pick up their laptop and get just a different scenery. We have an indoor-outdoor break, cafeteria. So not only are they eating and taking snacks and going outside, but a lot of people are using that for conferences and grabbing their colleagues and going outside. But our entire space was built around collaboration and creativity. And we've been fortunate. Even with COVID, we have been on site the entire time. We've not had any issues with it. We obviously have applied all the social distancing and best practices, but everybody's talking about, remote, working. Creativity comes from collaboration. It comes from working together, and you and I have an idea, and all of a sudden, it becomes far greater when we bounce it back and forth, or a couple other people join that discussion. And a lot gets learned through osmosis. A lot of people talk about learning about information at the water cooler. Well, there's a lot of truth to that. And I think for any technology company, I think it's paramount that they're able to be able to meet in person and collaborate. I think that's been lacking a lot during this COVID era.
Well, Sam, thank you for what you're doing for Florida, to have businesses like TouchSuite and Grubber based here, growing here, hiring superstar talent. That's exactly what we need. It's what, state leaders have been calling for years. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for focusing on entrepreneurs. We didn't have time to talk about it today, but I know you work in the community to grow young entrepreneurs too, and really appreciate for all that you, and thank you for being on Gunster's View from the Top.
Well, George, thank you again for inviting me on today.
Okay, take care.
All right, take care.